Hey guys, welcome to my legal classes. This is Ganesh Pujari, and in the series of Indian Evidence Act, today I am going to discuss about section 9, which is discussing about 5 important types of facts which are relevant to the relevant fact or facts in issues. I'm not taking any of your time. Let's straight away get into the first slide. As I have already explained, section 9 discusses about 5 different kinds of facts which are either connected to facts in issue or relevant fact. What are they? Facts necessary to explain or introduce, or facts which support or rebut an inference suggested by, or facts which establish the identity of anything or person whose identity is relevant, or facts which fix the time or place, or facts which show the relation of parties by whom any such fact was transacted. Now let us try understand each of them with brief illustrations. The first one is facts necessary to explain or introduce. Now if there was any issue in a riot, now the character of such riot need to be explained. That is required. That is the introduction of the case. Now how many people were there, what kind of behavior they were doing, all of that becomes necessary fact for that particular case, that is relevant. Likewise, there are facts which support or rebut an inference suggested by. Now for example, imagine there is a murder and the person who is accused is missing. Now that supports, that can be a relevant fact. The third one is which establish the identity of anything or person whose identity is relevant. Now what is that identity of anything? Imagine there is a murder scene and there is a pen which got by the police. Now, if someone is recognizes that pen as someone who they know, now it becomes a relevant fact by such pen being in the crime scene. Now, the person who is the real owner of that particular pen will become one of the suspect. That way, identifying anything will become an evidence or become the part of facts in issue or becomes the part of relevant fact. Likewise, identifying person is also very important. Now in the case of a dead body, if somebody is recognizing that person because they know, or sometime what happens, the body is not in a condition to recognize, but with the help of certain part of their body or moles or something, if somebody is recognizing, that is also very important. Likewise, if a person has ran away from the murder scene and someone has seen a person and then they are coming and saying that he was almost like 6 feet height and he was limping, he was not walking comfortably, and his right hand looks like some kind of injury, all those categorization will help to make the evidence more clearer. That is also relevant. The fourth fact is fixing the time or place. Now again imagine there is a murder and the accused was seen in the exact time in the place where murder has happened. Now that can become a very big evidence which is told as a fourth fact. And lastly, we show the relation of parties by whom any such fact was transacted. Now imagine there is murder of A and B is the accused of that particular murder, and someone has seen that C was giving poison bottle to Mr. B. Now there was one another transaction. Now all of them become the part of facts in issue. Now that is what we need to understand. Now move to few illustrations which are given under the act and then move to the case laws. The first illustration discusses about the validity of a will which is made by A. Now to understand the validity of such document, we need to understand the property which is mentioned in that particular will and the availability of such property as per the dates which are mentioned in the will. All of them becomes relevant fact. The second illustration covers the importance of introduction. Here what happens when there is a defamation case, it is very important at what background such defamatory statements were made or published. That becomes very important part, and the same is discussed in the second illustration. The third illustration is about A being committed a crime, and immediately after commission of such crime, A is absconded. But when court asks A for explanation, he says he had gone for certain urgent business requirement. Now the court may not be interested in what business he is into, but A has to very clearly explain on what was such necessary which made him to move on urgent basis. That need to be explained by A. That is very important, which will become the part of the relevant fact. The fourth illustration is of three persons, that is A, B and C. Now C basically had a contract of service with A. But then one fine day C breaks the contract of service, and while breaking he makes a statement that I am leaving you because B has made me a better offer. Here this statement can be used as an evidence against B from A, and A sues B with the help of this statement, which is a fact or relevant fact. In the fifth illustration, there are again three people, A, B and A's wife. Now A has done some theft and he gives the stolen property to B, and B then delivers it to A's wife, and while delivering he says that A says you are to hide this. B's statement is relevant as explanatory of a fact which is part of the transaction. That is what we need to understand in the fifth illustration. The last illustration, A is tried for a reward and is proved to have marched at the head of a mob. The cries of the mob are relevant as explanatory of the nature of the transaction. Now that gives an indication that can be a relevant fact. With that, I move to case laws. Identification of accused is one of the most important requirement which is always discussed under section 9. So I am giving all focus on that when it comes to case laws. The first case law here is Tahir Mohammed, Kamad Girindra Singh and Badri Singh versus State of Madhya Pradesh, where it was held that in dacoity case where all witness identified suspects as culprits without margin of error, creating doubt in mind of court, such identification is liable to be set aside. So clear identification is must. That is what held here. The second case law, Rajesh Govind Jagesha versus State of Maharashtra, it was held that if the test identification parade regarding accused was not conducted properly and suffered from unexplained delay, he is entitled to benefit of doubt. Now in the parade, if the identification is not done properly, then the benefit of doubt to be given to the accused. That is what held here. The third case law, that is Parvakar Behera versus State of Orissa, it was held that the possibility of wrong identification due to loss of memory cannot be discounted. Now if there is a loss of memory, such benefit of doubt will always go to the accused. There is no discount in front of the court. The fourth case law, that is Mullagiri Vijayaram versus State of Andhra Pradesh, where it was held that when conviction was based on evidence of eyewitness and not on identification parade, it cannot be set aside on ground that identification was not reliable. It is not necessary that in every case there should be parade. An eyewitness can straight away identify the accused, and that is valid, which is what held in Mullagiri Vijayaram versus State of Andhra Pradesh. The next case law, that is Vakil Singh versus State of Bihar, it was held that the test identification parade conducted 3.5 months after the dacoity took place, it would be wrong to convict the accused on single testimony. There was more than 100 days gap and such testimony cannot be accepted, and it was just a single testimony and court denied to take such testimony. In the case law Rajnath versus State of Uttar Pradesh, it was held that if there is unexplained and unreasonable delay in putting up the accused persons for a test identification, the delay by itself detracts for the credibility of the test. More the delay that you are doing, the credibility loss will be more, which is what held here. The next case law, Ramdevo Rai Yadav versus State of Bihar, where both the trial court and the appellate court had assessed the evidence in the proper perspective and attached much importance to the evidence in regard to the identification of the appellant. In finding him guilty, the Supreme Court would not reassess that evidence in absence of an exceptional ground necessitating such reassessment. That is what held here. The last case law that I am discussing here is Sainuddin versus State of Kerala, which helps us to understand a perception of identification of accused based on voice. Here what happened, there was a father and he had a daughter of 14 years. Now father wanted to have sexual relationship with his own daughter and daughter denied. The neighbors heard the conversation between father and daughter, and later the frustrated father killed his own daughter. Now the neighbors heard the nature or the type of conversation that happened between father and daughter, and they also heard the crying daughter before she died. Now the neighbors gave witness against father or the accused, and their recognizing or identification of the accused based on the voice helped the court to convict the accused for the same. That is one of the identification that you can remember. With that, I am signing off on section 9. See you in my next class with section 10. Till then, thank you so much for subscribing my channel. Please like, share and comment my videos. All the very best for whatsoever purpose you are referring my channel, and thanks again.